Welcome back to The Wandering Screen. I'm Matt Carson. I'm diving into Paul Thomas Anderson's blockbuster hit, One Battle After Another. Let's get into it. Okay, I know I'm late to the party on this one, but One Battle After Another absolutely floored me. I saw it in the theatre this week and I'm so glad I didn't wait for streaming. You know those movies where you can feel the whole audience reacting together? That was this film. It's over 2.5 hours long, but not once did it feel slow, and by the time we hit that final 20-minute car chase over the desert hills, the energy in the room was electrified. You could practically hear people holding their breath. Paul Thomas Anderson is back doing what he does best, creating a big, messy, emotional roller coaster that somehow blends absurd humor, deep emotion, and total chaos into an epic film that feels so alive. It's wild, it's weird, it's heartfelt, and it's one of those films that really sticks with you because of how it feels as much as what it says. The movie kicks off with this militant group called Fringe 75, led by Perfidia Beverly Hills, played by Teyana Taylor, who's incredible, launching an operation to free detainees. It's meant to signal that passive resistance is done, that this new revolution is going to be loud and violent. And Leonardo DiCaprio plays Bob Ferguson, a young revolutionary who gets swept up in the chaos and ends up falling for Perfidia. The two of them are passionate, reckless, and doomed, particularly when Perfidia gets pregnant with a baby that she doesn't want to have. Then everything explodes. Perfidia is captured, gives up names, and vanishes. 16 years later, Bob's living in hiding with their daughter Willa, played by newcomer Chase Infinity, trying to keep a low profile and forget the past. But Sean Penn's character, Colonel Stephen Lockjaw Levay, a right-wing zealot with more ego than sense, comes crashing back into their lives. He's got his own twisted mission, and before long, Bob and Willa are on the run. That's the setup, but One Battle After Another isn't really about plot. It's about what happens when ideals fade and life gets complicated, when you're no longer the fearless revolutionary, just someone trying to hold things together. The movie asks, what happens when the battle doesn't end? When every day feels like another fight, with the world, with other people, with yourself, with phone charges. But what I loved most is how fluid the whole thing feels. PTA structures it like this never-ending rhythm, one conflict blending into the next. The editing keeps moving, but not in a way that feels frantic. There's a calm confidence to it, this sense that every scene is leading to something bigger, and when it all comes together, it's exhilarating. It also balances tone in a way that few filmmakers can. There are moments that are darkly funny, others that are painfully intimate, and somehow it all works together. It's got that same fractured energy we've seen in PTA's other films, like Inherent Vice and Magnolia and The Master. But here it feels more purposeful. It's less about chaos for its own sake and more about how we keep going when the fight gets too heavy. Now, let's talk about DiCaprio. He's great in parts, and you can tell he's giving it his all, but I'll be honest, it's a version of Leo we've seen before, that slightly manic, bumbling, unraveling guy who's half brilliant, half pathetic. He's good at it, but it feels like familiar territory, especially in the second act when Bob's searching for Willa and bouncing from one misadventure to the next. He kind of hits the same emotional note a few too many times. I just wish we got a clearer picture of who Bob was underneath all the anxiety and smoke. But where the film really shines is the supporting cast. Teyana Taylor is magnetic. She's only in the first act, but her presence lingers over everything that follows. You can feel Perfidia in every scene, even when she's not there. Sean Penn, though, steals the movie. He's completely unhinged, playing Lockjaw as this self-serious monster who's also absurdly funny. He's terrifying and ridiculous in equal measure, a perfect PTA villain. Regina Hall adds so much depth as Deandra, one of the former revolutionaries, and Chase Infinity is an absolute breakout as Willa. She's the emotional anchor of the story, caught between her parents' broken legacy and her own identity. There's this beautiful thread running through the film about inheritance, what we take from the people who raised us and what we decide to leave behind. Willa represents that next generation trying to figure out what to do with the ideals her parents couldn't live up to. And the craft here is next level. Michael Ballman's cinematography is gorgeous. You can tell they shot across multiple film formats because each section has its own texture and mood. The flashbacks feel a little bit grainy and nostalgic in the first part of the film, while the present day in the 15 years ahead is crisp and grounded, and Jonny Greenwood's score is phenomenal as always. It's this mix of jazz dissonant strings and unexpected needle drops that gives the movie a pulse. It dances with the editing, guiding the emotion without ever overpowering it. And speaking of editing, it's some of the best of the year. And then that ending, my God, the last half hour is pure cinema. There's this chase sequence that's one of the most beautifully gripping shots that I've seen this year. It's the kind of filmmaking that reminds you why PTA is in a league of his own. You can feel the scale, the stakes, the physicality of it. No CGI spectacle, just pure craft and tension. So on the see it on the big screen or stream it meter, this one's an easy call. See it in theater. It's worth every minute. The sound, the energy, the way it envelops you. It's the kind of movie that makes sense when you're surrounded by people all reacting with you. It's called One Battle After Another for a reason, because that's life. You win some, you lose some, and sometimes you're just fighting to stay upright. But that's what makes this film so resonant. Even when the characters are at their most defeated, they keep going, and in a weird way, it's kind of inspiring. You've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that bell to get notified when a new review drops this season, and don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe. Where does One Battle After Another rank on your PTA movie list? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film. Drop me a comment below, and see you next time.